in this video, I'm going to take you through the two best optimization actions that you can make to improve the performance of your Performance Max campaign. Of course, there are a lot more optimizations that you can do for Performance Max, but in this video, I really wanted to focus in on two areas where you can really see increased performance. And what I want to let you know is that these actions are part of my optimization checklist, which has been updated for 2024 as we move into 2025. And for Performance Max, it has well over 70 different optimization actions that you need to complete. And it covers both lead generation and also if you've got a e-commerce brand Performance Max campaign. If you click on this link here, it takes you back to the targeting options for a shopping campaign because a lot of those processes are the same. It not only helps you optimize your Performance Max, also takes you through how to optimize your search, shopping, display, demand gen, and video campaigns. If you want to get access to my Google Ads optimization checklist, make sure that you follow the link in the description below and you can get free access so I can be there to help you optimize your campaigns as you move along in 2025. All right, let's now focus in on optimizing your Performance Max campaigns. Before we get to that, one thing that I do want to stress with a Performance Max campaign is that this is usually what I would call a secondary campaign. So generally you're starting with your search or shopping campaigns, or if you're a lead-based generation company, it might be search with a combination of some call-only campaigns. When it comes to Performance Max, you really want to make sure that you've not only got enough conversions in there, because Performance Max is a campaign that was built to generate more conversions. Another thing that people get caught up with Performance Max as well is that they get highly fixated on ROAS. I'm not saying that ROAS is not an important metric. What I'm saying is you do need to think about the stage that your brand or your business is in. Let me just give you a real perfect example of two different campaigns. Both of these businesses are really happy with their Performance Max campaigns. This business has Performance Max campaigns ranging from 4.5 up to nearly 30 at 29. Whereas this business, because it's at a different stage, its Performance Max campaign in here is performing just over a ROAS of 200, and they're more than happy with that. Now, the reason for that is because that first business, they're well established and they're diving into some really niche markets. They've got, I think, well over 10,000 different SKUs. So we've been able to create some different Performance Max campaigns, one around their own branded products, another one around some really high intent, and then another one is more of an outreach. Whereas for that other e-commerce brand, for them, they are at a real building stage and they need to increase their total revenue so that they can actually keep their ongoing contract with their manufacturer, and they need a ROAS over 200%. So for them, that's more than what they need. So that's the only thing that I would say when it comes to Performance Max is really make sure that you're not just solely fixated on your ROAS targets. Really think about what does this business need and how can Performance Max achieve that goal? Because if you've got a lower ROAS goal, you can actually reach more people and introduce people to your long-term product. Also, that brand that has that lower ROAS target, they've got a really high repeat rate of customers. So all they need is that first-time buyer. Then they know they're going to get a long lifetime value. So let's get into the optimizations that I want to focus on for this video. Once again, this isn't all of the optimizations that you can need to complete, not even close to it, but it's two really important ones. The first one is going to be, we're going to be really focusing your asset group spend. And this is all around your spending and segmentation. And what you want to do here is you want to go through and have a look at where you're spending money in your Performance Max campaign and are you seeing the results that you need to see. Now, Performance Max is a great campaign type, but the problem can be once it starts to get some level of conversions, it can basically just focus on a couple of products or a couple of search terms and just not worry about any others. The reason why it does that is it looks to find the least path of resistance, and if it's getting a good amount of conversions, it will just keep going down those product groups. Not a problem, but if you've got some high profit products which have a lower volume or lower traffic volume, sometimes they can get lost. What I recommend is that when it comes to setting up your Performance Max campaigns, you need to do one or two things. You need to have it in separate asset groups, or the other option of what you can do is that inside of your different Performance Max campaigns, if all of the messaging, so that all the images and everything is really relevant, what you can also do is you can also break it down into different listing groups. For this brand, the reason why they've done it this way is because all of their messaging kind of goes across this whole brand. So that's why they've just got it in all different types of listing groups. Whereas for this brand, they really needed some specific targeted messaging and copy. Let's look at the asset group option first. So what you want to do is when you're in asset groups, you want to go to the table section. optimization. And what this is then letting you see is it's letting you see some data at the asset group level. If you're not seeing all the data that you want to see, go to columns, modify columns, and then you can go through and add in some extra things. So if you want to add in some more conversion metrics, some more performance metrics, you can do that there. What we're seeing in here now, this is looking at some data just over about 30 days. Let's go back a little bit further. This campaign's only been running 2 months, so we don't have too much extra data to look at. But what you can see in through here, let's just look at the spend and the cost. So you can see through here, long term, this top one, I've just had to blur out these asset groups and some of these images just for protection for the brand. But what you can see from here is that this one is spending the most. But if we were to go past the last 30 days, you can see here that already starts to become a bigger trend of Google really spending the most amount of money here. This is because it is generating the highest level of conversion value. Now, it's too early to really build this out yet, but what I'd be looking at here is that sometimes after a good 4, 5, 6 months, you can see one asset group taking about 80% of the spend. And what you can see through here now at the moment, it's not too big of a variance, but I have seen some cases where, this top asset group might have like 80% of the spend, but this bottom asset group, although it's got a lower spend, their conversion metrics are like super, super high. It might have a ROAS sometimes, which is, double the amount of what the other asset group is doing. If that was to happen, that's when you would go through and look at this. Are there any asset groups that need to be moved into a separate campaign because they've got good conversion metrics, but a low spend? I do want to give a warning. You don't want to be doing this every single month. You don't even want to be doing, this is kind of something you do like on a 3-month or even like a 6-month basis. Is in the optimization checklist, I've put it as monthly, but generally I wait to see a good amount of data. So generally I'm waiting at least sort of 90 days before I break that out. And what you want to do from here is if you see, say, for example, this asset group is just not getting any spend. As I said, it's too early to call it now. What we would do is that we would put this asset group into its own campaign. And what that allows us to do is remembering with any type of campaign, that budget is set at the campaign level. You're then forcing Google to spend money on those products. That's the first option that you can do with Performance Max. The only reason why I do that is that if we see prolonged exposure where after a good, we're talking 60, 90 days where the spending on the second asset group just keeps going down and lower, but the conversion metrics are staying high. That's one of the best ways that you can optimize your Performance Max campaign. So now that I've taken you through how you can review your Performance Max campaigns by your spending and segmentation, especially at that asset group level, let me take you through another core optimization action that you need to complete, and that is your ads, and you want to review your ad assets. So in order to review our assets, the way that you want to do that is you want to go into your Performance Max campaign, select your asset groups. And when you're in here, what you can do is that you can go through and go view details. And what this does is that this gives you a score on good, best, or low. Now, you don't get the exact metrics, although Google is starting to give you some more metrics around your conversions and your conversion value. You can also add this in through here. Don't get a full amount, but you do get more data than what we did have previously. And what I do from here is that if we go down and we start to see that any of these metrics are seeing a low score, we'll go through and change that. So you can see it here for the image, or in for the, as you can see here, we've got some headlines which have got a low score. We can actually just go through and select edit and go through and change that straight away. When it comes to how often you do that with Performance Max, I've got here in the checklist that I recommend that you're doing this on a monthly basis, but it really does come down to that data. Just if you're spending more money, sometimes you can get the information from Google, within a couple of weeks. So go through, go to the asset groups, look at the view details, and then you can make the decisions from the score that Google has given you. There's 2 ways that you can optimize your Performance Max campaigns. Remember, that is definitely not the full list. If you want to see the full list of options on how to optimize your Performance Max campaigns, make sure you follow that link in the description below so you can get access to my Google Ads optimization checklist for Performance Max campaigns. Thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Remember, this video is part of my Get Google Ready playlist for 2025. And if you want to watch all of the videos that we've got live right now, go through and watch this playlist right here.